Hello, everybody. I'm Cynthia Perez Navarro, speaking here from Cholula, Mexico. And I was Nancy's student in one of the January intensive. And for so long, reading about her and watching videos and having the privilege to be in one of those intensives made me realize how my life has changed also with other of my teachers that I value so much. And the poetic of her words and the radical practice of generosity that is being permeable as one of her greatest words and tangible in this tissue of humans that we have been connecting and gathering here, which I feel so honored and so inspired and so moved. um, and we are here to celebrate her life and through and across borders. And I would like to share a poem. I will share the translation in the chat. It's called, for this friend, Ana Jimena, is called Ecuador. And there's a poem that it doesn't have a title, it's just the 34. And it says, en lo invisible, un caudal de silencios se agalopa. Cambiar, tajar la tierra, abrir espacio para que corra el agua de aquello que no se ha dicho. So I just wanted to share this poem and have the space to bring my voice also in my language, and also to celebrate Nancy and all her teaching and her presence and all that is like staying alive, and her legacy with us. So thank you so much for the space.
Yeah, there is too much to say. Um, I feel like Nancy gave me so much. She really it felt like living around her was like she was the oxygen, you know? She was just so much. And I guess the main thing that she taught me is how to share. It was like a little bit like kindergarten, but adult kindergarten, like smart. So smart. She's so smart. So I thought I'd just play something I don't really know how to play for a moment. Just share something. Thanks.
You know, common advice that I hear says surround yourself with inspiring people. And Pat Crowley asked us tonight to look more closely at Nancy, and without detracting from the importance of the contact, the dance within Nancy, I think there are a set of people who are creative, who are intuitive, who are powerful, and who are gentle. And learning more about how they organize their lives, how they create, how they collaborate, how they find their still, quiet inward time and their collaborative and social time is really significant. And one of the things I would love to see is some kind of workshop or gathering that looks at those qualities in Nancy and in other people who may be alive or may have passed, but who inspire us not by one piece of brilliance, but by one way of being in this world. we don't have a lot of great models. We have an awful lot just in this room, but in life in general, that set of qualities, creative, intuitive, powerful, and gentle, is pretty rare. And I am so grateful to having known and worked with Nancy. And Nancy gave me a lot of little bits of advice. She was not one to preach. She was not one to tell me. But by the powerful questions that she would ask, she was an amazing teacher.
Well, before was a personal story, but I wanted to just the second part of that express the more universal part of why I told that. You know, when I was thanking Nancy for helping me with my writing, I don't know if some of you know, but I had 3 pieces I wrote for Contact Quarterly, and as you all know, Nancy is meticulous editing with me for hours and hours, and I learned so much from working with her and with me. But I think what I was trying to communicate is this: there's often been quite a split in this perception of us as dancers, that, you know, we're either kinesthetically and movement people, or we're intellectual and academic. And I was quite confused as a young person because I really felt strongly identified as both. And I feel like what Nancy and Lisa provided through this Contact Quarterly was this place for us to try to engage in articulating about our movement experience in this really deep, embodied way that there really wasn't a forum from. I mean, this was in 1984, I guess, when I met her first. So I just wanted to kind of broaden what I was saying to encompass this sort of generation of next movers and writers that I feel like they really a lot of heartfelt time and love supported us to understand the potential of that path.
And them. And even though I didn't dance with Nancy, she was such a literally sensual person. I could always smell her oil, which someone said was Vevateur. I saw her eyeliner that was like that aubergine color. And whenever I saw her, it was physical. And she let me borrow her braid a couple times because my hair didn't grow down. So I'm just so grateful. Oh, and I went to Naropa when I was on a summer vacation from work in San Francisco, and I studied with Barbara Dilley and a lot of the other people that have been, you know, showing up. So I feel like I've been sort of on the edge, but today was so heartwarming. And I feel like even though I feel lost sometimes, that there's something about being on a path that with people that I would choose to be on the path with. So thank you for everyone for producing this.
So I just wanted to say a little something small about Nancy. I studied with her at Earth Dance when I was at Brown University. I used to go up and study with her a number of times there, and she was beginning work on her underscore. And those 4 days with her were some of the most sort of transformative times for me as far as dance is concerned, but just improvisation and learning about how one should live one's life. And I grew up hearing or watching Grand Union, actually, because from New York City, and my parents were involved with Mabou Mines. They started a theater company in New York, and watching Steve and when I was a very little girl, and studying with KJ later. Hi, KJ, as a young woman. And so I wanted to pass along, my mother died, who's a wonderful actress, Ruth Malachek. She died in 2013, and I wanted to gift her favorite poem to Nancy. And my mother always talked about this poem as being to her about creativity. So it's one of Shakespeare's sonnets, actually. It's sonnet number 14. Not from the stars do I my judgment pluck, and yet methinks I have astronomy, but not to tell of good or evil luck, of plagues, of dearths, or seasons' quality. Nor can I fortune to brief minutes tell, pointing to each his thunder, rain, and wind, or say with princes if it shall go well, by oft predict that I in heaven find. But from thine eyes my knowledge I derive, and constant stars, in them I read such art, as truth and beauty shall together thrive, if from thyself to store thou wouldst convert, or else of thee I this prognosticate, thy end is truth's and beauty's doom and date. I love you, Nancy. Thank you.
I had a song that I just made yesterday. Thank you. The name for the lullaby came from a piece that Nancy and Mike made for us in Finland in 2007 called The Exactness of Weight of Feeling, which I think the saying comes from Rothko. So there's a lot of layers from both of their histories and stories in the name of the dance piece that then came into this lullaby. Thanks for letting me share.
Me, and I thought, well, I was at Earth Dance for several years, and I was kind of in the background for 7 or 8 of the Nancy groups, and so I guess Nancy and I kind of developed this connection where I was kind of holding space for the group, for her group, befriending people, like making Shabbat candle lighting happen, which she, you know, somehow at a certain point she took a really liking to that, maybe because of her Jewish roots and maybe because of a couple participants, but
I could turn our mic on.
I've been waiting.
Move me down to it.
Hello from Richmond, California, where it's extremely smoky outside. And I've been sheltering in place, and I'm so glad to have spent the last 6 hours with all of you. And I learned so much about Nancy that I didn't know today. I met her probably in 78 or 79, I think. And danced with her at Point Reyes Dance Palace in Berkeley, and Brighton Bush and Harbin Hot Springs. And Harbin burned down a few years ago in another fire. Very sad to hear that Brighton Bush is burned, but happy that the lodge is still there. And I want to express so much gratitude to Christina and everybody who organized this amazing event today, and all of the tech people, and everybody who shared, and everybody who has witnessed this remarkable outpouring of love and appreciation for Nancy, who has affected all of us in so many ways. And I'm so struck with the ripples that have gone out in the world to thousands and thousands of people, both who Nancy directly taught, and then the people that she taught, who then taught others and taught others and taught others. And really filling my heart. And I really want to also express appreciation for the gift of this life celebration, because it's also been like a virtual reunion for me of seeing so many people in the little Zoom pictures that I've known and danced with and been friends with, and colleagues and who've taught me, and I've taught them, and over the years. And it's just been so lovely to just be able to connect with everybody from all over the planet sitting in my living room. So thank you, everyone.
So I'm Fernanda from Porto Alegre, south of Brazil. This photo was took with Nancy and Mike in 2006 when I produced a week workshop with them here. I met Contact Improvisation in '98 with KJ in New York. Hi, KJ. And I had this dream to bring up Nancy to Porto Alegre. And we danced together, we improvised in a performance together. And I have a postcard with grateful words of Nancy. And I'd like to read it because these words are for you, Nancy. Obrigado, Fernanda. Obrigado, Nancy. So very much for your courage plus inspiration, your profound respect and appreciation for the work, and your most kind plus thoughtful way of taking care of us, with love plus big wishes for a great flowering of the Contact Improvisation seeds in Porto Alegre. Love, Nancy. Love, Fernanda. Thank you, Nancy.
I'm Amy Schwartzman, and I actually went to Oberlin. I was a freshman when Nancy was a sophomore. And I was there when the Grand Union came, and I was there when Meredith came the next year or 2 years later. And we were both in the dance company. And Nancy and I were never friends. And she was never my teacher. But I think that there was always something extraordinary and on some level a very deep connection that I always felt to her and with her. I did study contact, but not a lot. And I was a dancer for years in New York. But I feel like she was always herself. There was always something about her. All those many years ago, I remember her white Jeep. I remember her presence. And I think in many ways, I feel like she was a bodhisattva here. And she was here to do something for a lot of people in a very deep spiritual way. And I guess I just wanted to thank her and thank all of you and say hi to all the people I do know personally. And thanks Christy and Colleen and all the folks who've done the organizing. But when she died, it just meant so much to me and affected me really deeply. Again, even though we hadn't been in touch in years. So thank you, everyone. Thanks for being part of this and for letting me be part of it.
Well, I just wanted to say, after pulling an all-nighter, the lemon juice with apple really helped. It's waking me up. So in case you don't know, it's a gift from Nancy as well. First time I ever had apples with lemon juice was after the underscore practice when Nancy came to Hong Kong. Again in 2013, I think it was. And also just now an image popped up of me watching Nancy watching herself dancing in the video in Fall After Nugent. That was, I thought, very amusing to witness. I feel very energized now being among all of us. And I also feel that this kind of time that we're sharing right now with this COVID and everything that's going on, I think the more unpredictability that we have, the more we need to learn from improvisation, use it as a tool, not just to dance, not just to, foster the growth of the arts, but also to just live probably better, as a better person, as a better citizen on the planet. And I hope with this very simple sharing, and by the way, try the apple and lemon juice. It's very nice. It's better than coffee, at least for me. Thank you.
So I met Nancy in the very early 80s when she did a long and many months and a magical many months residency at Oberlin College, and changed my life as she changed many of yours. I have wonderful memories from that time, and my body it just opened. Up to that point, I'd been doing, very formal dancing, ballet and jazz, and all of a sudden the world was bright and huge and round. I remember that Nancy did a couple of pieces there. One was it was called a monkey dance. I think something monkey dance. It was a solo, and she was everywhere in the space, and her long hair was like, her braid was like a limb, and a third limb, a fifth limb, I guess. And there was another one in which a group of students were in a very tight ball, and it was as though she came by and gestured dropping a water drop, and the students just kind of opened out, crescent rolled out. It was when I started to teach that suddenly contact reminded me that everything that I'd learned at Oberlin, the 5 months that I was with her, had informed everything that I had done since then. And teaching it really grew contact for me. And I think that might be true for a lot of people.
Okay. Well, I am Eliana. I live in Buenos Aires, Argentina. Yeah, I began to practice contact improvisation in 1987. So Nancy for me was a myth. In the 92, she came for the first time to Buenos Aires, and I was really, wow, finally I'm gonna meet her. And it was very important, that workshop for me. All that material I wrote in my notebook, and I continue practicing. In that moment, I was at the beginning to teach also contact improvisation. 5 years later, I began. And I was like keeping with that material. Was very important for me. And I remember I was crying sometimes, and she was really all the time hearing, and she said something that I keep as a treasure. She said, always remember that inside this broken heart, there is a healthy heart. Inside this broken heart is a healthy heart, always. And other thing that touched me also was once the girl said, what can I do when I want to dance, but I don't have the will, really, my body can't move. And she said, you have to think in the other force besides gravity, it is levity. You just bring levity to your attention. I wrote a poem, Amada Nancy, prendí un fuego para vos, para nosotras, símbolo de que sigue viva, muy viva, tu chispa, tu presencia, tu enseñanza, tu amor, tu danza, tu generosidad, tu escucha atenta, en mí, en todos, en tantos bailarines, bailarinas, tus seguidores, tus discípulos. Gracias eternas, te voy a extrañar. Y aquí lo voy a intentar traducirlo. I'm gonna try to translate it. Loved Nancy, I made a big fire in my garden for you, for us, as a symbol of your spark, your big spark that is alive, very alive. Your presence, your love, your dance, your words, your generosity, your attentive listening in myself, in all of us, so much dancers, your students, your disciples, you teacher of teachers. Gratitude forever. Sweet and powerful Nancy. I'm gonna miss you. Gratitude, gratitude for all of you to organize this beautiful meeting. Thank you for your presence.
Okay, that was so beautiful. Yes, she was a teacher of teachers. She still is a teacher of teachers. And I guess I just felt compelled to share. I heard people talking about, contact improv is love and contact improv is life. But I felt yes and yes. But I felt that one of the things that always drew me to Nancy is the substance, the thirst for the articulate, for the understood, or for the frame in which something can be considered. So rather than the abstract of the feeling, I really was attracted to her desire to bring a language into contact improvisation, and to maintain a focus within the work, a rigor within the work that I so appreciated. And we probably, those of us who were able to spend time with Nancy, were able to see her with that rigor and when she really stuck with it. I was very fortunate because I had 3 major collaborations with Nancy. Nancy and I organized CI 36. We both were part of the organizing hub with Ray and Martin and Gretchen and Alicia and Scott. And, am I forgetting somebody? But Nancy and I were the 2 main ones. And we spent, well, as you guys all said, hours and hours and hours on Skype and phone calls and imagining in details. And was it perfect? No, but was it fantastic? Oh my God, yes. And then we collaborated on making the film, the documentation of that event. And you guys can imagine how meticulous Nancy was. We watched every hour of footage. There were, I believe, there were multiple videographers that were filming, and we watched every hour of all of those films to choose the clips. And then, of course, meticulously getting permission from everybody to use their clip, and that they were okay with the clip that we chose. She was always so careful to give credit where credit was due. Every photo needed credit and everything needed permission. There was a tremendous honorability to her work that I really appreciated. I not only learned contact from her, but also the rigor of writing and grouping words together that are related, and ooh, the long dash. She got me in love with the long dash. I'd say the 3rd collaboration I did with her was India, because Nancy actually never made it to India. She had planned on going to India. And it was going to be Ray, Nancy, and I. And in the end, it was Ray and I. But then Nancy and Steve both Skyped in. And I had initiated a Indian contact improv teachers exchange. And then through the network of the Indian teachers, we created the event. One of the things that really stood out about Nancy's was not only did she take the time to meet each individual teacher that was present, and it seemed to give her a real thrill. And by then, this was January. This was just this past January. So she, it was already such precious time. But she found herself talking a lot about Steve, which she herself said, I'm surprised how much I'm talking about Steve. But she wanted to talk about, again, the rigor and the principles of contact and to the best of her ability, her understandings. And then Steve spoke and shared for both of them over an hour. It was really quite special. But the whole 10 years that I have been traveling and teaching in India, Nancy was like my private partner. We spent a lot of time on the phone and emails, and she helped me first make my first contact there. And it was a very interesting process of me not wanting to be kind of messianic and bringing a whole new culture to India, but rather work within the frame of the culture, that it's okay if it's male to male and female to female. And in the end, it wasn't that, but there were some dancers that would like that. And but Nancy was my silent partner throughout that, and it was really meaningful. I don't know that I would have had the courage and the strength to do it without her support. And everywhere I went, I gave the kind of a historic overview, and I also did the underscore. So anyway, yes, she was a colleague, she was a teacher, and she was a friend, and she was here in my house. Anyway, I just have a lot of love and respect for Nancy. She's been in a lot of my dreams, and just wanted to share that, how it's extraordinary to me how she could be involved in so many of our lives in such a deep, meaningful way. So sending love to her. And I believe we're still in the Jewish month of Elul, which means it's an acronym in Hebrew of Ledodi. Let's see, Dodi li Ledodi. I am my beloved and my beloved is me, is the acronym. And
it's a beautiful time to do this memorial. So Nancy, you are my beloved, and I thank you for everything you've taught us.
I've now gone inside to Lonnie's house, and I have to go. I am just feeling my body retreat into itself. But thank you everyone for all of your sharings. What an amazing event this has been, and I'm sure it will continue longer. And so all power to you. Nancy's incredible. And I love what so many people are saying about how much we just carry her with us, and that's all we can do. So how lovely. And Erica, thank you for your wonderful words that you just said, and everyone's. And so much love to everyone.
Dances and songs were so great.
Yes.
The video was beautiful.
Oh, good. Well, we'll post it on the Harvest page so everyone can see it. All right.
Okay.
Goodbye.
Good night.
Much love to you all.
Okay, I will sing a little song from Caetano Veloso that we sang in the Nancy's workshop. I put a little bit above the lyrics in English, but I will sing in Portuguese. It calls Song of a People of a Place. Canção de povo de lugar. It's very short. Todo dia o sol levanta e a gente canta o sol de todo dia. Fim da tarde a terra cora e a gente chora porque fim da tarde. Quando à noite a lua mansa e a gente dança venerando a noite. Thank you. Good night. Thank you, everybody, for all this so touching moment. Thank you.
I just want to share something that I wrote just listening to you, to all of you. I've been listening from all these hours, and I am very moved. And now I can calm myself and talk just a little briefly, some words that I didn't know you meant so much to me, Nancy, and now I understand that you are an important part of my life, simply because I feel your seed in many who manage to reproduce and bestow, to give it with as much generosity, openness, sincerity, and clarity as yours. Between you and all of us, to continue living and updating your teaching in every member of this community. Like this great gestalt that supports itself to coexist and reproduce itself. Thank you. It's really wonderful to hear you all. It's really moving. Gracias.
Hi. Hi. Thank you so much, everyone, for all of your words and sharing. I didn't think I was going to speak, but of course, all these things are coming up now, and now my dog's going to bark, but sorry about that. I was a CQ editor for 4 years. Little bird, come here. Between 2012 and 2016, and right before that, I had been working for, doing some administration for a dance company in New York, and it was kind of abusive. It was a kind of abusive situation. And so when I started working for Nancy, I really didn't know how to be in a healthy relationship with an employer. You know, I didn't know how to, it just was not something that was familiar for me. And Nancy, being who she was, just, of course, really allowed me to be just who I am. And really called that out of me. And just thinking about her and how much, you know, how much power she had, but it was never like, there was never this desire to control or to abuse that power. And we live in such a time where there's so much abuse of power, but she really just empowered people to be who they were. And anyway, that's such a gift that just I keep receiving from her. Yeah, that's all I wanted to say. And apparently my dog wanted to talk too. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for these 7 hours. My name is Marilia. I'm from Brazil. I work here and in Mozambique, in Africa. Nancy was also my teacher, one of my amazing teachers. I've been working with her material in my classes for several years. I think about her every time I go to the classroom, and in my imagination we have lots of dialogues, and it's so interesting. I receive this support from her, and I feel there is no end for the research from her material, and I really love it. I want to read 3 lines. I wrote some material from her January workshop 2013, and it's Nancy. You always have where to go. So it doesn't matter to do the right thing, but to perceive what's going on, and this will give you confidence to play with risks. Good night.
Hi. I wanted to share a process that I had a few days after Nancy passed away. And while she was dying, I kept sending her pictures of lilacs every day. Like the lilac bushes where I live on the West Coast were just starting to bloom, and each day I would send another picture to Mike's phone. I never knew, I mean, I was pretty sure they were sharing them, but I didn't know for sure, and I never really wrote much or anything. But I just wanted to stay in touch that way because she was so into lilacs. It was almost like a crazy distraction sometimes. Like in a workshop, she would make everybody go outside and smell a lilac bush, you know, and I would be like, come on already. But you know, in the end, I could surrender to the lilacs, and you know, but she had such a passion, you know, what she was passionate about, she loved to share with other people. And, you know, she sort of was amazing that way, the way that she would just do that without holding back or something. And so she didn't really hold back her wisdom. So I had this kind of focusing session, this internal dialogue session, and it was a lot about trying to deal with Nancy's upcoming death. And this image of yin yang came. And it, you know, just that whole thing of something about something being there and then something also not being there. And so I'm going to try to share this thing that happened. I live on an island, and I went down to the beach. So we were already planning to be distanced, but I just got there early, and I knew I had this. I brought a basket of lilacs from my bush, which by now they were quite big, and had this image, but I didn't really know how I would do it. And so I got there early, and so I was kind of by myself, and I had a pretty amazing time there. And can you see something?
Yes, it worked.
That's our beach, and I got to make this yin yang, but it was so totally by, you know, like I just got down on the beach and I was just like, you know, in the seaweed. I just started, I didn't know what it was gonna exactly be. And it just kind of started to go around like this. I don't know, can you see my hands?
Yes.
Like the Aikido arm, you know, it's so fucking unbelievable. I just gotta say, it was like the circle, I'm in the circle and I'm just starting to like scoot around and do this, making this perfect circle, like kind of going like this back, doing this circle thing. And it was, and nobody else was there. It was, except Nancy, of course. And then I just sort of carved the yin yangs and put the lilacs there. Took some pictures. Joan was there in the end, actually. Joan Hanna. Thanks for listening. I wrote a poem, but I can't remember where it went, but I'll find it someday. I wanted to share that. Love you.
Love you. Such an incredibly perfect circle.
Recently, like I reconnected like in 2012 when was in like Chichester, like this global underscore, and was more through there with the like somatics and technology. And I'm involved and was then with the like expanding like the physicality into this more like sharing with videos like we are here now, but our activity. And then also with these virtual worlds, I was working with avatars. And so this was experimenting this there for the first time, was really, and she was like, for me was the most gratifying in a way, because she was the one like the most, not the participants, we were like, everyone was a bit dancing with avatars. And Nancy, I mean, I have some photos from Dan and Chester. She dancing with the avatar, like was like on a little corner on the space, you know. Over there was like the videos from people in other GUS, no? Other sites or satellites. And then was, you know, the room and the sound and then when she came to Portugal, then that's what I, you know, just wanted to finish. Was really nice that, you know, that possibility, and to like make it in a nice setting in with Forum Dança, a kind of organization in dance here, and Lisa Nelson, for instance, being there, and other I know other forget another, but people connected with this I think this movement that Nancy's part, and I feel I'm part too. This tradition, this new tradition, or things we making, but like here, like then I was able to expand a bit that part of, because she was interested, and I really, yeah, is that I sang, and like when I'm doing this now, I feel that I'm together with her, and in this other mode, more etherical, because we are also that, right? So, and I feel that she's connected with us still very much. And we are also, in a way, this kind of brings us really much more. I mean, for me, it gives me, I was like kind of making like, because it's such energy, we all being like everybody, right? So I thank you very much. I think I'm already taking too much time, but much love to you all. let's be happy.
I was a Nancy in 2012, and I was able to, one of the days there was a nice 2-hour session of just jamming, and during that whole time, the two of us didn't just dance together, and there was in and out and around, but it just seemed that the focus, we just kept coming back to each other, and her openness to, help people learn and to share through her movement and her body and her words, and just how gracious she was to whoever came across her path, and that it was really meaningful for me to be able to have that dance with her and to have that memory of her. And especially, I just remember at the January workshop, all the singing that we did was really, really great. And it really kind of brought all of us in the community together. And I haven't really had another experience where there was so much community brought about by that singing and joining together. And the risks that we all took were really crazy. After watching a couple of the early Nancy videos that we saw, the whole group the next day, we just got into that studio and immediately started jumping on each other, and everyone knew it was okay. And just to be able to provide that space and that energy was really great. And the one song I've been singing all day from that time, that workshop, was Swing Low. So I'm just gonna sing it through once, and if anyone else wants to sing it, that's great, because definitely not the best singer, but. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Thank you.
Beautiful. All right. I have to lean. I took off my headset. So Melinda Buckwalter, who also worked alongside Nancy in the CQ office for years, and wrote something. Nancy Stark Smith is a supernova, an energy force, a certain experience of the world, a rare occurrence on an earthly scale, safe to orbit, take a chance up close in a dance. Every supernova has one. I'm on the flip side. CQ was work, a lot of work. This is how I got there. I was writing a book on dance improvisation practice, and Nancy, who I had met through workshops, mentioned that she had an interview with Barbara Dilley. Would I like to transcribe and edit it for Contact Quarterly? Would I? Dare I accept this dangerous mission that would bring me in so close? The gravity alone. The rush, that first magazine, falling down into it, the fun of it, and the newness. Lisa Nelson and I gathered the context from the internet. Next, the making of the print mag with Nancy. No, this wasn't right. Here's the system. This goes there. See if they have any more photos. We'll just ask, is it a final edit or a text proof or a final edit? And what time is it in Seattle? Could I keep up? 20, no 30, no 50 hours a week, but who is counting? And then the context list. Bleary-eyed, 10:30 p.m. I got a little task for you. 7+ pages of 8-point type and lots of dots. Addresses, phone numbers, and emails of all the contactors from all over the world. You know, those weird phone numbers with the plus signs and the hyphenations that don't make sense. Just in case they want to crash on each other's couch. She knew each one by name and right down to the details. When she met them, please cross-check this with random copy-stained pages of contact sheets from the last several workshops. I survived. That was a goal, right? Survive the dance. That's how she did it. She pulled you in, flipped you around, got you going, and before you knew it, you just couldn't stop. Down the gravity well. And now she's gone supernova. She's still here in the elementary particles, the dots and dashes, telling me now how she likes this ellipsis, but maybe an M dash is better right here. What do you think? That's Melinda Buckwalter's writing. Sorry, that brought me back to, okay. I think the next, thank you for the spotlight.
That Nancy built and being able to join you today, all of us. I was a Nancy almost 10 years ago, maybe oldest by 2 in the group that joined together that January. And I had no idea that I was starting on a path that would lead me into a community that was this grand, this loving, and this surprisingly wonderful. I don't have much more to say, except I think studying contact with Nancy over those 3 weeks has kept me alive past when my end would have ordinarily been. That I miss her, and when I heard about her passing, I've thought about her multiple times in the weeks since. And it is really powerful to see what she created in the world that still lives by virtue of today and what the organizers have done for all of us. Thank you all.
I think though, before we go, I want to, because it looks like Steve Paxton is still on the call. And I just wanted to send love out to him, because of course it was his work that Nancy carried on, and his spirit behind this forum that was the heart of the work. And I just wanted to make sure that that blessing goes out too. But thank you to everyone for your patience and for all your heartfelt contributions. And I know that Nancy's with us, and I know that she's you know, sending her love back. I asked her, I said, are you coming back anytime soon? And she said, I can help everybody so much more from over here. So, all right.
We're closing out. Thank you,
Yeah,
everybody. You'll
big
get a
hug.
Thank you email, and see you somewhere. Chris, can you just tell me when to start and tell people what this music is?
All right. This music is Meredith Monk's latest project called Anthem. And it's a collaboration with a group called Alarm Will Sound and her vocal ensemble. And we're going to enter it in the middle. It's a 10-minute piece, which builds very, very slowly through repetitions. But I think you'll love it. I think Nancy would really love it. And as this music plays, let's just hold our gratitude for her in our hearts.